Hi, welcome back to the channel. If you're curious why it is so important to put some time and energy into developing your system before you start implementation, then this video is for you. Systems have a lot of benefits and how we design them has an impact on that. But one of the best things they can do for us is to help us get back time in our lives. There are several ways that systems can help us get our time back. One of them is by making sure that we focus on what's important first. By prioritizing what's important, we are not left with major unfinished key moving tasks to projects or major goals that we have. We're taking the time to actually make sure that those are accomplished up front. If we know that we are accomplishing the most important things and we are moving towards our goals or moving towards the completion of a major project, then we are saving ourselves time overall because we're not getting distracted by things that aren't going to have as much impact. Systems and processes can also help you break out those large goals and those large projects into smaller little pieces that you are more likely to complete. Every time you're completing one of those things, you are making progress towards your goals. When you're getting distracted with everything else, it's going to pull you onto the side. And so you end up spending a lot of time and effort and energy in areas that aren't going to move or make impact into the directions that you want them to do. So systems and processes help us keep those top priorities top priority. If you're interested in a way to manage all of the tasks that you have going through your mind to make sure that you really are prioritizing and focusing on the top ones, I do have a process for that, and I'll share the link to that below. When we're designing systems, we tend to incorporate efficiency right into the system itself. By incorporating that efficiency, it is going to also help save you time. And when we put the work up front, we are reducing the learning curve for that particular system. Systems are also inherently efficient. When you have developed a system and you have that system functioning and running, as you continue to use that system, it is going to take less and less time. So you, most cases, aren't even thinking about what it is that you have to do. You're just naturally doing the things that you want to do when you've taken the time to design a good system up front. Another great benefit is that systems are inherently efficient. They are inherently efficient in design because when you are using a system, you start to develop habits that you are just incorporating into your life. So you're not having to take the time to think, oh, I've got to do this, this, and this. Instead, you're not even thinking about it at all. You're just doing the thing. A perfect example of this is your morning routine. So when you're getting out of bed and then you wake up and you get your hot coffee or your hot beverage, or maybe you're putting your workout clothes, whatever it is, you just kind of follow that system along. You just don't even think about it because you're not even awake yet, and yet here you are just going through the movements. That is a perfect example of how systems can save you time overall. So when you are designing a system to support your goals and knowing that it's going to make things easier for you, you're going to just wake up, or maybe in the middle of the day, you're going to know it's 12 o'clock. I follow this thing and these are the habits that I started to build. The more that you continue to do this, the more habitual these become. And so eventually these systems just kind of fade into the background and they become part of our programming and part of our lives. The more systems you have and the more cohesive those systems become, the more time, energy, and effort you save yourself overall. So we talked a little bit about prioritization, but I also want to cover what it is to be strategic with our time. And systems can help you do just that, be strategic with your time. We talked a little bit about prioritization, but let's also cover the strategic uses of time that systems can also help build in. So when you're designing your system and you're looking at your life overall, you will find these little pockets of time that you are maybe not strategically using. Systems can help you utilize that time better. So one example of how this works is when I was trying to solve the question of how can I get more time later on to spend with my child, but still make sure that the major projects and work is being done. And I started noticing I had these little pockets of time. I had my commute and I had when I was walking. And for the most part, those times were not utilized as efficiently. Now I look at it and I say, okay, when I'm walking, I can read, I can listen, I can speak, and I can think. Those are the 4 actions that I can do when I am walking. So therefore, when I am walking, what activities can I take during that particular time that includes those particular skill sets? I can read and respond to messages. I can take meetings and phone calls. I can think about complex problems that I'm trying to solve and develop solutions. I can also do voice memo recordings for different thoughts, strategies, or ideas on how to handle something. I can dictate documents. There are so many things that we can do in these little pockets of time if we just take the time to actually think back and design our system appropriately. By using those walks, I'm getting my health benefit in, but I'm also making sure that I am driving important things forward for my goals and for my projects at work so that I will have that time freed up later on because I've already done it earlier in the day during these hidden pockets of time. It's also being strategic about activities that are going to bring you joy and refill your energy and your vibrance. Self-care is really important, and if you have right systems built in, then those systems should naturally prioritize you. I know you hear it a lot, but they always tell you on the planes, if you have the oxygen mask fall down, put it on yourself before you put it on someone else. And there's good logic behind that. If we aren't taking the time to care for ourselves, then it's really difficult to care for anybody else. And it's really difficult for me to show up as a great mom or as a great employee or as a great business owner or a great friend. Those relationships are challenging if I am feeling depleted. So systems help us make sure that we are also building in that particular time for ourselves so that we can be caring for ourselves in a way that helps to support the community and others. Let's talk about knocking down stress. We just discussed a little bit about self-care, but it's kind of along the same line. Self-care, when you are caring for yourself, you can incorporate those little bits of time to help you relax and step back. When you give yourself the space between you and whatever it is that you're going through or all of the things that you have to do, that base allows you time to think. When you can think and be creative and re-energize and reset. There are a lot of things that you can do during this time, but great systems will have that time built in so that you can take care of yourself. And that way you can make sure that when you are ready to show up in whatever capacity it is you're showing up, you can show up as a better version of yourself because you've prioritized yourself and you have had time allocated to you in your systems. Effective systems and processes can also help reduce stress by allowing you to be in control of your life rather than letting your life take control over you. It also allows you to identify the things that should be delegated or things that maybe aren't as important that you shouldn't be doing. It also creates that space for you to spend time for yourself so that you know that you are being prioritized. So systems and processes, I talk a lot about these. I love them so much. They have gotten me a lot of control over my life. And I feel like this is like the secret sauce that a lot of people miss out. But here's my takeaways for you. Developing cohesive systems is what's really going to give you that control over your life and help you get your time and your life back. It's also important to experiment and find out what is working for you and what's not working for you, and make sure that whatever system it is that you've spent time designing, you test and implement that regularly. And the other really piece of important information I want to share with you is embrace flexibility. As you grow, your systems are going to grow, but don't make your systems so rigid that you don't have the space or the freedom to change anything up. That is just a recipe for disaster. If you are interested in how to design the perfect system for you, I do have a process for that as well. If you want to check that out, the ebook is in the link below. The best systems are cohesive, and cohesive systems are built with design in mind. So there's some principles behind them, there is a goal behind them, and then there's a lot of environmental considerations, both external, what's in our external world, and internal, like the way that we think or the way that we're processing information, that is also developed into systems. So successful systems really take into consideration both your internal and your external environment so that you can make sure that you are set up for success from the get-go. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more.